Welcome back to our podcast CRM Chris Rankunemsiza podcast. Siyabonga lapha ekhaya ukuthi usibukele. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Siphila kaloko. Namhlanje sino baba lana ubaba uPhiri. Ubaba uSoliphiri uke aba ikhansela lapha eZidobeni. Manje baba uPhiri ube ikhansela before ukhansela Matenje or concurrently no cancela Nomvula Matenje. Good morning. Good afternoon, eh?
No, a very good afternoon to you, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris, and the viewers. Yeah, ngibe counselor before Nomvula Matenje.
Oh, okay. No, ngiyabonga man. Siyabonga ukuthi ube khona nathi la ukhumelele uma sikumema. Counselor. Konje uyi-counselor for what iward yakho bekuyi-what party?
Yeah, no iward yami bekuyi-ward 102. Ikhava iZidobeni yonke, ikhava halfway yaseBelmas iZorgvliet, ikhava iRema Park, ikhava iBester Park, ikhava iWitfontein.
Oh, bekuyi-ward 102 manje.
Yes, bekuyi-ward 104.
Konje ube ikhansela phakathi kwamuphi unyaka namuphi unyaka?
From 2011 until 2016.
Oh, from 2011 until 2016 bekuyi-ward council.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ngiyakhumbula council. Now, uma ufika kamasipala, imaphi mhlambe ama-committees oye waseva kiwo?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris. Yang seve eTshwane from 2011 mangena ku-council, ngiba i-ward councillor, and seve ku-portfolio committee, sports, arts and culture, baseve ku-portfolio committee, human settlement, naku-roads and transport.
Oh, bowukhona ku-human settlement, roads and transport, naku-sports. Now, councillor, uyazi into emphakathini kukhulunywa ngayo kakhulu ngale theme yakho, noma into yaxaka abantu bafuna ukwazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. Abanye bayizwe estradini, abanye bayizwe emateksini, abanye bayizwa ngabantu abakuzondayo, abanye bayizwa mhlambe ngabayibeka right, but the cloud eyaduma ile yokuthi wasuspendwa isikhathi eside lapha kamasipala. Konje since ukhethiwe ngo-2011 useve isikhathi esingakanani before i-suspension?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris. No, mina ngiseve a very short period of time in office. Ngiseve from 2011 uJune masingena up until 2012 February. It's whereby office laka chief whip issue i-suspension. But again, i-suspension yami it was not based on merit, 1. 2, i-suspension yami bengasi legal, it was illegal. 3, uchief whip bengana power by then, Comrade Jabu Mabona bengana power at all, be it governmental, be it legal. Because if you read your Municipal Systems Act under section 14, it explicitly explained to say only the MEC in the province of local government has the absolute power to suspend or to remove a councillor from office. Either a councillor when a case whether a rape or a case of corruption, then a councillor is whereby can be removed from office. And the MEC has that vested power based on the Municipal Systems Act to remove or to suspend a councillor for a period. So in the end, uchief whip wa exercise power anganayo Comrade Jabu Mabona, including regional executive committee under Comrade Tol Mujapilo, by then Bela is secretary. So while the chief whip issue a letter for suspension in 2012, regional secretary na start a process yake ukuthi we have bring the organization into disrepute. And then I responded to both letters, and you won't believe up to this particular day I'm gonna respond and I tell Comrade Jabu Mabona ngalesa sikhathi, even a response from Comrade Paul Mujapilo as the regional secretary.
Oh, ngiyabonga Babu Phiri. And I must make you aware ukuthi mhlambe masimenshina amagama wabanye abantu kumele ngibanikeze i-right of reply. Ngamanye amagama if bayavuma ukuza ngizobamema nabo ukuthi baziphendulele babeke izindaba ngendlela mhlambe oba implicate ngakhona. Now what I want to check ukuthi uma uthi wasuspendwa i-office laka chief whip, my understanding is that u-chief whip waseTshwane uba i-chief whip ye-council yonke. Am I right? He becomes the chief whip of the entire council. And therefore, he's not limited to the political organization that he represents, which therefore gives him the status. Mayor mhlambe no speaker, because umayor uba umayor umasipala wonke, uspeaker uba uspeaker umasipala wonke. So if the council takes a resolution yokuthi the chief whip uba i-chief whip ye-council yonke, it means that chief whip is responsible for discipline for the entire council. So that might have come as a result of a council resolution. Am I correct? Is that the understanding?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Comrade Chris, Pastor Chris. No, the issue is this. We must separate political matters and governance. Remember, chief whip, maga chief whip of council, udila nama issues with programming committee one, who udila ne troika. Troika, who mayor, who speaker, who chief whip, whereby we take them as political leaders in council, you know. So now, chief whip, even to this particular day, you Comrade Jabu Mabona, he knows very clear, no mayor na speaker uti suspension yami, it was illegal. Chief whip yana power as much as I chief whip of council don't deploy the political. But if you go to Municipal Assistance Act, it talks about the speaker of council to say if ba suspect to council agnende wrong ayenzile, speaker of council must someone who councillor ku ethics committee. Ethics committee nayo ayina right to remove a councillor, even to suspend the councillor. The letter must go, or a recommendation after ethics committee agu council MEC of local government in the province. So MEC has that absolute right to suspend or to remove councillor from office.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that this is how legislation is structured. You have the constitution of the country. Then you will have legislation. Legislation, you'll have national legislation, provincial legislation. But the law goes further to say a council resolution becomes law. Nomema kama, i-council izibethamthetho nayo in its own right, just like legislature at national level and provincial legislature in imithetho eyibekayo. So the Systems Act might be there, but the Systems Act will give room for the council to take its own council resolution. That is what I'm saying. Was there no council resolution which gave powers to the office of the chief whip? Because when this thing of whip started, the primary role of the office of the chief whip is to whip in council. In other words, if there's an element of misbehavior, it is the office of the chief whip that is responsible for keeping discipline, not presiding over a meeting. The question of keeping order in a council meeting resides within the office of the speaker. But the whip or the chief whip is responsible in terms of a council resolution. That is my understanding. For the discipline of councillors beyond the boundaries of a council chamber. Ukuthi u-councillors banibani mhlambe uye wayostopa uye wayokhuluma ne-official endleleni wavimba iveni wathe wena ungajikeli left lajikela right. That official will report the matter to a supervisor, the supervisor to the manager, director, ultimately the municipal manager. Then the municipal manager will discuss the matter with the executive mayor, because the executive mayor is a political head who's involved on the day-to-day running of the administration. Like in the case of national government, you have the cabinet. Now, the cabinet is involved on a day-to-day running of government. So, in the case of the city, you'll have the executive mayor with members of the mayoral committee. Then you'll also have the speaker, who's responsible for order in the legislature of the council, which is called a council city. Then you will have, you spoke about Treka, you'll have the third leg, which is called whippery, or the chief whip's office. That office is primarily responsible for discipline. And if the council resolution existed, any as of the chief whip the powers to deal with issues of discipline, that council resolution, like any bylaw, because bylaw comes into being through a council resolution, becomes law. So there might be the Systems Act, but what does the council resolution say? PPT council resolution was the chief whip responsible for discipline. Like I assume I was not part of that council, but I'm talking about my experience when I was a councillor, which was not in the city, it was in Kungwin. But my understanding is that the primary role, or part of the primary roles that the chief whip has, is to maintain discipline.
Yeah, no, we are right, Comrade Chris, Pastor Chris. But the issue is this. Remember, national legislation and provincial legislation, it must guide the process of the bylaws of the municipality. It starts there, So, but above that is that as much as the chief whip is the right politically deployed in that office to crack the whip, if councillor is having some challenges with regard to the office or whatever. But the issue is this: as much as the chief whip will crack the whip, the chief whip must follow the bylaw to the latter end. The chief whip must follow the national legislation to the latter end. So you'll understand that your Municipal Structures Act, your Municipal Systems Act, and the councillors' handbooks, those three books, they guide the office of the ward council. So in essence, the point that I'm trying to make, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris, is that the city did not follow the processes to the latter end. There were flaws in the process because, for starters, the chief whip has no right to suspend the councillor, even to issue the letter. Only the speaker, through the office of the chief whip, if he cracks the whip with regard to the matter to the councillor, he must write a letter to the speaker to say, Speaker, there is a matter with councillor Piri or councillor so and so. And then the speaker must formulate the process whereby they appoint the legal advisor to guide them in the process, and then the matter will go to the ethics committee to give certainty whether there is a case or what. After the ethics committee, then the matter will go back to the speaker's office, and then an item will be created in council for the resolution that we are talking about. But the issue of the Systems Act, they must follow it to the latter end, because the Systems Act, it guides the process for the removal of the councillor and also for the suspension of the councillor. So in essence is that the council resolution can supersede the Municipal Systems Act.
No. Actually, it works the other way around. When you read the Constitution cannot go into detail of issues. Let's talk about issues of gender equality. The Constitution would say the legislature must make sure that there is an act that deals with issues of gender equality. But the Constitution would give an overarching statement to say to pave a way for equality. That overarching statement would make it clear that there is no gender that is superior to the other. Now, you will never find an act that does not make provision for a council resolution. That is why my question is not about what the Systems Act says. My question is about what the council resolution says about the office of the chief whip. I understand what the Systems Act says. I understand what the Constitution says, because the Systems Act is there as a result of the Constitution. The existence of the Systems Act is derived from the Provincial Act and the National Act and the Constitution ultimately. But the Systems Act will also make a provision for council resolutions, especially because it deals with council issues. So I'm saying to you, a council sitting is empowered by legislation to come up with certain resolutions and policies of that particular council. So there are things that will be done different in Tshwane, will be done different from Johannesburg Metro, for instance, will be done different from Ekurhuleni Metro, because when they localized the implementation of that particular legislation to suit their situation and their environment and their dynamics, you understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that the Systems Act is there. I agree with it. But what does the council resolution, when it established the chief whip's office, said? Well, what does the council resolution say about the cause of the chief whip?
Yeah, let me also ventilate on that issue, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris. The issue is this. Obviously, the national legislation will inform the bylaws of the municipality, right?
Yes.
So once the national legislation guides the bylaws of the municipality, obviously you will have the bylaw for what committees, you will have delegated powers for Troika, your chief whip, your speaker, and the mayor. So the issue is this, to come directly to your question. Yes, indeed, the resolution was made from the council to say we recommend that the office of the MEC to remove Councillor Piri from office because he disrupted meeting, right?
No. Before there, that's not my question. My question is, when the office of the chief whip was established, before there was even your issue, before there was a misconduct on your side, if there was an alleged misconduct, let me say, when the office of the chief whip was established in 2011, when you people were elected, what was the delegated powers? I'm not talking about the specific resolution that says the chief whip must go and deal with Councillor Soli Piri's issue. I'm talking about the delegated powers that when you people went to the first Bosperat, went to the first Lekgotla of the council to decide on the powers allocated to different offices, that list of responsibilities and powers in terms of the council resolution, which you adopted probably in your first council meeting, what did that say about the powers of the chief whip to suspend? Was there a power like that in that council resolution, the very first council resolution of your city, before even there was your issue on the people?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pastor Chris and Comrade Chris. Now, if I recall quite very well, if my memory serves me well, I don't recall after, remember, one, we started with an internal orientation of all councillors. Then there was a process for the issue that we are talking about of Lekgotla, to plan about policies and all of that. If my memory serves me well, I don't recall in our first council meeting having a delegated power which will give authority to the chief whip, the mayor, and the speaker, which will deal also with the issues that we are talking about. I don't recall seeing that kind of a policy.
Oh, so the chief whip's office existed without any roles assigned to it, because if the organogram is to allow an office to exist, then a cluster of rules has to be agreed upon or determined. Say, we have this cluster of rules, and therefore we would need an office that would implement these rules. So my understanding was that the reason why the city came to a conclusion that they need an office of the chief whip, it was because there were roles that were to be deferred to that office. Is that the understanding?
Yeah, no, it's the understanding. That is why I'm saying, if I recall quite very well, I don't remember seeing documents from Troika, because what I've seen is that before the internal orientation,
Yes.
there was some processes within the ANC, and then there was an internal orientation for councillors, and then there was that planning Lekgotla, but it was the planning Lekgotla for members of the mayoral committee. I highly believe maybe at that level, the mayor, the chief whip, and the speaker and members of the mayoral committee, they did discuss the delegated powers there. And then obviously, council agendas for the city, they will come in big volumes, So you won't be able to scrutinize all of them. Maybe at some point there was that delegated power to the chief whip, to the speaker, and to the mayor. But having said that, it doesn't also substitute the issue of the Systems Act. I just want to emphasize that point. Even if it can be a delegated power of authority, but that decision of suspension and the decision to remove the councillor in office, a duly elected councillor, it rests firmly with the MC of local government in the province.
Yeah. There is a hierarchy. In law, we talk about sources of law. Now, there is a hierarchy of how these laws should be implemented, and the question of what supersedes what. But also, there is a question of provision. If a law that is assumed to be superseding a particular law has given provision that this law that comes below it has a right to address that issue, it cannot take away that authority or power that it has delegated. For instance, if a constitution says a legislation has that authority to address that particular question, then the constitution cannot come back and say, yeah, but why are you addressing this question, unless the context within which the legislation will attempt to address that issue then contravenes the spirit, the constitution purported on that particular issue. Other than that, the constitution cannot come back and say, because legislation is junior to the constitution, and therefore, why does it address this issue? So the same sequence will follow if there's the Systems Act, and the Systems Act and the Structures Act gives authority to the council resolution. It will work like that. But what I want to dwell much on now is that you are saying council agendas would come in volumes, and there's a possibility that those delegated powers would be in those council agendas, and maybe because of time you might have not had a chance to go through it. Because even if Troika and the mayoral committee were to have their own Lekgotla, that document from Lekgotla will be discussed by them at the post-barat, but for it to become part of council, it has to go to the mayoral committee or whatever section 8 or 79 that it has to go through before it goes to the mayoral committee. Then it will go to the mayoral committee. After the mayoral committee, it needs to be confirmed or agreed upon by the entire council. And that is why you are saying it might have happened that it was part of your agenda at some stage. But one other issue, because I think we are left with little time, that I want to check with you. Within these 8 months that you were in council, were you able to deliver maybe on certain things that you have promised to the community, or the time was too little? That's my first question. And combined with that is that, are you then saying that since your suspension until the term elapsed, meaning 5 years elapsed, were you able to meet those that suspended you in court to try and prove that maybe the suspension was illegal? And if you did, what did the court say?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris. Yeah, the issue is this. I did spend a lot of money and out of my pocket. By the way, for starters, the city was supposed to pay for all my legal fees. There is a policy which we call rationalization of local government. So whether we are a SED, whether we are the official within the city, whether we are the mayor, the chief whip, the speaker, or the ward council or the peer council, they suspend you or whatever issue that can emanate. But the rationalization of local government, it explicitly explained that your legal fees must be covered. But to my surprise, the way the chief whip, the mayor, and the speaker, they were hating me. They did not even pay for my legal fees. I try all avenues to write letters to the speaker's office, to the mayor's office, and also to the chief whip of council so that they can pay my legal fees. I ended up paying my legal fees out of my pocket, and it amounted for almost 400,000. So I appointed the senior counsel, the white guy, and he did quite very well. J.J. Lords attorneys from Centurion, and they presided over my case quite very well because after their council resolution, the matter, it went to the office of the MEC. By then, it was Comrade Jacob Mamabulo. And then Comrade Jacob Mamabulo presided over the matter. It went there somewhere in 2013. And then in 2014, the MEC appointed, 2013, he appointed a legal firm of this guy was presiding over the issue of VPS Terry Mutau. So I was summoned to offices of Terry Mutau. They are based in Pumano Law Chambers in Senting, Morningside area. We went there with Comrade Baker, a very comrade who supported me throughout my term of office and in my political career with no broken service. And Comrade Ronin Lovu and Comrade Santos Machika. Those were the comrade and Comrade Jacob Khanye who supported me throughout the way, even for the suspension matters in the ANC, you know. So we went there, and Comrade Owen Ramin, we went there, let the man know.
Comrade, we've got about 2 minutes left. I want you to dwell on whether you were able to meet them in court and what was the outcome.
Yeah,
Did you win them in court?
yeah, I'm going.
I hear this issue of comrades that supported.
No, I'm going there.
I'm just looking at our time. Yeah,
I just wanted to start there.
yes.
Yeah, so to cut the matter short is that when the issue was there at Kerry Mutau legal firm, he presided about the issue and then released a report in 2013 to say Piri is exonerated on all the charges. The city has no case. And in the same meeting, the lawyers...
Was that a court?
No, it was not a court of law. It was through the legal firm of Terry Mutau. That is why I'm relating the story to go to the issue of
So what I want to check,
yes,
who exonerated you?
Terry Mutau legal firm.
Was it appointed by
The MEC.
Oh, it was appointed by the MEC as a commission
Yeah.
to look into your matter.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that process, it was ventilated there through Terry Mutau legal firm, and then a report was released to say the city has no case against Councillor Piri. Councillor Piri must go back to work, finish what is started as the ward councillor. And then
When was that?
it was 2014.
2014.
Yeah, somewhere September, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then the MEC further of local government, Comrade Jacob Mamabulo, wrote a letter, and that letter, he CC'd the mayor, the chief whip, and the speaker to say we must meet, and so that the MEC can be part of the meeting and explain that I'm exonerated from all the things that they accused me about and to go back to my work. So the chief whip of council, the mayor, and the speaker rejected the letter, rejected the outcome, going forward. So
They rejected through a council resolution or
no, just
in front of the MEC.
yeah, through the telephone engagement and email engagement. So is the report that I received.
You really
And I accepted it, So the MEC advised me to say, Chief, these people, they are cruel. They can even kill you about the wisdom, intelligence.
They can even kill you.
Yes.
So those were the words from the MEC.
Yes, because the chief whip, the mayor, and the speaker, they were having a passion of hate against me, even Comrade Paul Mujapilo. So I accepted to say, okay, MEC is fine.
I think I must try and get them and give them a right of reply.
Yeah, not
because if the MEC himself said they hate you, they can even kill you, then I must get them to report.
No, definitely. So, but to come to your last issue, because of time,
Yeah.
to say what did I achieve in terms of the service delivered.
Yes.
Yeah, when I came to office, I developed what we call a 5 years service delivery program.
Yes.
The first issue that I did achieve is the installation of street light. The second issue that I did achieve, the same marker that they are talking about and my heights and also extension 13, it was my brainchild. I can even show you documents to that effect.
Okay.
I went to a legal firm here in Bremonspruit, Embassy in the Swar.
Yeah.
It's where I managed to find that land. And then while I was in council, I wrote a proposal to the MEC, to MLC
to find land in which way? You went as an individual councillor, or was it a collective effort through the city?
No, somebody told me that that land from the whole Marikana, Mahait and extension 13, it's a vacant land, so the seller is selling.
Oh.
So I went there to the legal firm, we had a meeting, and they gave me the offer to say we're selling the land. And then obviously, I'm not in procurement of the municipality, I'm not the city manager. So I wrote a proposal to MMC of housing to say there is a land that is available because I want my ward to expand in terms of housing. That's right. And then on the Department of Human Settlement, Comrade Joshua Ngonyama, then he processed that proposal. Finally, the city was able to do acquisition of that land.
Oh, yes. No, that's wonderful. That's good news. And we appreciate that effort. Just lastly, in 30 seconds, what was the original charges? What were you charged with? The reason why you were suspended? What were the allegations?
No, the allegations, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris, they said to me in their letter, the chief whip of council, Comrade Jabu Mabona, I disrupted the meeting. That thing, it made me to laugh even to this particular day. How can a councillor disrupt his own meeting? So the charges were illegal, were not founded, and were not based on merit. That is why even Terry Mutau, when he pursued the city the city legal representative in Police Ngwenya from Hugo Ngwenya Incorporated, I've never seen a lawyer cry, Comrade Chris, in that meeting. Police Ngwenya cried like a child and said, from day one, I told the city, the chief whip, the mayor and the speaker that they don't have a case against this man, Solomon Piri.
Oh, yes. So that those were the charges. They were alleging that you disrupt meetings. Now, after these allegations were unfounded, something becomes very important. Throughout the suspension, did you get paid? What were your children eating?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pastor Chris and Comrade Chris. Yeah, by the grace of God and by prayer and declaring the word of God on daily basis, and investing in midnight prayers. From 2012, during my suspension up until my term of office ended in 2016, I was getting a full salary.
Oh, at least. So it was suspension on pay. Oh, no. Siyabonga councillor, man. A former councillor. I don't know if you want to say something in closing, because you are done in 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris, and your technical team for this good work that we are doing in the community. So I just encourage people when they receive that invitation to come to your podcast, they must respect the invitation and take it into high regard. To receive an invitation from the man of your caliber, of high ethics, of good value, how come you decline that invitation? No, thanks very much, so that the community can hear the side of my story.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Babu Piri. Babu Piri, asivale ngomkhosi. Ngagcina ku-ANC. Ngiseselapha. Mara amanye amavoti ngibone ngathi ugcoke ezibovu ma. Useselapha. Usese ku-ANC or lapha ume nje nixoxa lapha kwa-EFF or ulapho? Ukwenzakala nongishaye ngomgosi kancane lapho.
Yeah, no, thank you, Pastor Chris, Comrade Chris. No, I don't have a membership of EFF. After I was treated badly and ill treatment by Abu Comrade Mjapil and all those comrades, Abu Jabu Mabona, I left the ANC, but I did not write a letter to say I'm resigning. So it's whereby the EFF was just inviting me in their meeting just to provide an advice.
Oh, yes. So you are not a member of the EFF but uphila nabo. Kune MKP yamalanga la uthini ngayo?
No, same apply. Now MK, I don't have a membership.
Uyabavakashela.
Yeah, if they need my advice about governance or local government issues, then I advise them.
Oh, okay. No, siyabonga. Simzwile ubaba uSolomon Mzimba Phiri. Ubeke isite lakhe le story besihlala silizwa nje emateksini endleleni nabantu abangasi-informed. Namhlanje silithole from the horse's mouth. Thank you for the clarity you have provided. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Siyabonga. See you next time.